The dark battlefield. The battlefield was silent. Smoke floated in the air like dark clouds. The ground was broken and burned, filled with holes from heavy fire. Human machines were destroyed and alien bodies were scattered everywhere. It looked like the end of a long and bloody war. Captain Ryan slowly opened his eyes. Pain rushed through his body, but he forced himself to breathe. He did not remember how he survived the last attack. His ears still rang from explosions. He tried to move his arm and felt something sharp cut into his skin. Blood dripped, but he stayed calm. Ryan was a soldier, trained for war, but this place was different. It was not a human base anymore. He was deep inside an alien hive. The silence made his heart beat faster. A battlefield should not be silent. There should be screams, gunfire, or alien roars. But now there was nothing, only the sound of his breath and the echo of distant dripping water. The walls around him were strange, not stone, not metal, but living. They pulsed like veins of a giant creature. The smell was sharp and sour, a mix of blood and something unknown. Ryan pushed himself up and searched for his weapon. His rifle was gone, his sidearm broken. He was unarmed in the middle of enemy territory. Still, his soldier's mind told him to move. Step by step, he walked deeper into the hive. He did not know why, but something pulled him forward. Memories flashed in his mind. The mission had been simple: strike the alien nest, destroy the Queen, and end the war. But nothing about this war was simple. The aliens were too strong, too fast, too endless. Humanity was losing. Ryan and his team were only supposed to hold the line until reinforcements came, but the reinforcements never came. He remembered the last moment, an explosion, his squad screaming, the ground breaking under him. Then, darkness. Now he was alone. Or maybe not. The deeper he went, the stranger it became. He heard a low hum, like the beating of a giant heart. The air grew heavy. Shadows moved on the walls even when nothing touched them. Ryan felt eyes watching him. He raised his fists, ready to fight with his bare hands. His pulse raced. Sweat ran down his face. Something was here with him, something alive. The hum grew louder. His boots sank into the soft ground. It was not just a battlefield anymore. It was a living nest, breathing around him. Every step echoed like a warning. The walls opened into a huge chamber. At the center, covered in darkness, he saw her, the alien queen. Her body was massive, her skin black and shining like armor. Long limbs stretched from her body, each sharp like a blade. Her crown of horns reached the ceiling. Her eyes glowed faint yellow, burning through the dark. Ryan froze. He had seen many aliens before, but the queen was different. She was power, fear, and death in one being. For a moment, time stopped. He thought this was his last breath. She would kill him, tear him apart in seconds. He took a step back, but his legs shook. The queen moved slowly, not to attack, but to study him. Her head tilted, her eyes locked on him. She made a sound, low and deep, almost like speech. Ryan's chest tightened. Why was she not killing him? Why was she waiting? He felt the air change. Something invisible touched his mind. A voice, not human, not words, but feelings. Loneliness, anger, hunger. It was the queen. She was inside his thoughts. Ryan fought to resist, but the more he struggled, the deeper she reached. It felt like she was pulling out his memories, his pain, his bravery, his fear. She was searching for something. Ryan clenched his fists, ready to strike, but the queen did not move closer. Instead, she lowered her massive body. It almost looked like she was bowing. The soldier could not believe. It, the most feared creature in the galaxy, the queen of destruction, was showing weakness. Why? The battlefield outside was dead. But inside this chamber, something new was beginning. Ryan felt it. He was not just a soldier anymore. He was part of something far bigger than the war. The queen's glowing eyes never left his. The silence between them was filled with tension, and in that moment, Captain Ryan understood one truth. The war was not over. It was only changing, and he was standing at the center of it, the unexpected encounter. Ryan stood frozen in the chamber. The alien queen's glowing eyes locked onto his. He could feel her breath in the air, heavy and strange. Each sound of her movement echoed like thunder. Her presence filled the nest like a storm waiting to strike. But she did not attack. She did not roar. Instead, she studied him, as if he was more than a human soldier, as if he was something she had been waiting for. Ryan's instincts screamed at him to run, to fight, to do anything but stand still. Yet his body refused to move. It was as though invisible chains held him in place. The queen tilted her head. Her claws scraped against the living floor, creating sparks. A deep vibration spread through the chamber. It was not sound, not words. It was inside his head. He could hear her, not with ears, but with his mind. Human, the thought came. Sharp and cold, Ryan's breath caught in his throat. The Queen's voice was not a voice at all. It was a weight pressing on his mind, filling every corner of his skull. He staggered, gripping his head, but the force did not stop. She was reading him, not his face, not his body, but his very memories. He saw flashes, his first battle, his fallen squad, the moment he almost died. The Queen pulled his life into her like smoke through fire. Ryan gritted his teeth. No, he whispered, but his voice was nothing in this place. The Queen leaned closer. Her massive shadow swallowed him. Her eyes burned brighter. He felt her hunger, her rage, her endless loneliness. She was the last of her kind, yet more powerful than any army. But something in her had changed. Something had cracked, and Ryan was the reason. The walls of the chamber pulsed like a living heart. The air thickened, heavy with unseen energy. Ryan dropped to his knees, his body weak. He felt heat spread through him, not fire, but connection. The Queen was not killing him, she was choosing him. He tried to crawl backward, but her massive claw blocked his way. Her touch was sharp, yet she did not pierce his skin. Instead, her claw rested near him, like a cage, like a hand holding something precious. You are not like the others, the voice echoed in his mind. The others came to kill, you came to survive. You are strong, but you are also afraid. And fear is life. Ryan's jaw tightened. He wanted to scream at her, to tell her she was wrong, but part of him knew the truth. He was afraid, yet he was alive when everyone else was dead. That made him different, that made him valuable. The Queen leaned closer. Her breath was hot, sharp like acid. Her face came inches from his. Her eyes no longer looked like the eyes of a monster. They looked almost curious, almost searching. Ryan's heart pounded. Why? Why him? Why now? Then it happened. The chamber shook violently. The ground split as glowing veins of energy burst through the walls. The Queen let out a low roar, not of anger, but of power. Ryan covered his face, but the light still burned through. Something passed between them, invisible but undeniable. It felt like a bond, a link carved into their blood and their souls. Ryan gasped as pain struck through his chest. He fell to the ground, clutching himself. His vision blurred. He saw flashes not of his own memories, but of hers. Worlds burned, hives destroyed, her children slaughtered. He saw her battles, her victories, her low. Nelliness, he felt her rage, her grief, her hunger to survive, and then he saw something new, a spark, a future, one that involved him. When the light faded, Ryan lay gasping. The Queen loomed above him, silent. Her massive chest rose and fell slowly. Her claws no longer threatened him. Her eyes no longer glowed with fury. Something had changed, not just in her, but in him too. Ryan's hand trembled as he pushed himself up. "What did you do to me?" he whispered, his voice breaking. The Queen's answer was not words, but a feeling. "You will understand soon." A cold shiver ran down his spine. The battlefield outside was quiet, but inside this chamber, something impossible had begun. The alien queen and the human soldier were now bound by something far greater than war, something neither species could have ever imagined. And somewhere deep in Ryan's chest, he felt the terrible truth. This was only the beginning. The strange bond. Ryan's body still shook from the strange connection. His heart raced as if he had run for miles. Every nerve in his skin burned. Every breath felt heavy. The Queen towered above him, silent, her glowing eyes locked on his soul. He should have been dead, yet he was alive. Alive, but changed. The air around them pulsed with unseen energy. The walls of the hive trembled, responding to their bond. Ryan staggered to his feet, his legs weak, his mind dizzy. He looked at her with fear, with anger, and with something he could not name. She had touched his memories. She had reached inside him. But worse, he had seen her, her grief, her pain, her endless hunger. The Queen was not only a monster, she was something deeper, something broken, but dangerous. Ryan clenched his fists. "You think I'll help you," he muttered under his breath. The Queen tilted her head slowly. The vibration of her voice filled his mind again. "You cannot escape me now, human." Her tone was not a threat. It was a truth. a heavy chain that wrapped around his very being. He tried to take a step back, but his chest burned. It was like an invisible thread pulled him closer. No matter how far he moved, something tied him to her, a bond neither of them had chosen, yet it was there, strong, unbreakable. The chamber dimmed, shadows twisted along the walls, forming shapes of alien drones. They moved restlessly, waiting, watching. But they did not attack him. They only hissed and circled, confused, as if they too sensed the change in their queen. Ryan's eyes narrowed. He could feel their suspicion, their anger. If they realized what had happened, they might tear him apart. But the queen lifted one claw. The drones froze instantly. Her command was absolute, her control over the hive unquestionable, and now, somehow, Ryan was inside that command. Not an enemy, not a prisoner, but something else. Something that made even the drones hesitate. Ryan's mind spun. He was a soldier. He had trained his whole life to kill these creatures, to see them as monsters, no more than nightmares made flesh. Yet now they circled him, unsure if he was prey or something far more dangerous. The thought made his stomach twist. The queen lowered herself closer. Her eyes burned like twin suns. "You carry more than fear, human," her voice thundered in his head. "You carry defiance, you carry survival. These are what I need." Ryan clenched his jaw. "What do you want from me?" he shouted, though his voice cracked. Her answer was slow, heavy, filled with certainty. "A future." The words struck like a blade. Ryan's thoughts spiraled. A future? With her? With this hive? It was madness. He was human. She was alien. Their species had destroyed each other for decades. And yet, deep inside, Ryan felt the truth. The bond was real. It pulsed with every heartbeat. It was not just in his mind. It was in his blood. He staggered back, pressing his hand against the living wall. The surface throbbed under his touch. It felt alive, warm, beating like a second heart. He pulled away quickly, his skin crawling, but the queen's voice followed. "You resist, but resistance is weakness. We are bound now, human, stronger than war, stronger than death." Ryan's breath came fast. A bond with her meant betrayal of humanity, but breaking it meant tearing his soul apart. He was trapped between two impossible choices, and the queen knew it. The drones hissed louder, their bodies restless. The hive itself trembled with the force of their confusion. The queen rose high again, towering like a dark mountain. She spread her limbs wide, her voice filling every corner of the chamber. "The war will end, but not by human fire, not by alien claws. It will end by what we create together." Ryan froze. Her words burned into him. Together, the meaning was clear, but impossible. The soldier shook his head. "You're insane," he whispered, his body trembling. But deep down, he knew insanity was not the right word. It was destiny, a terrifying, unnatural destiny. The chamber grew darker. The hum of the hive grew louder. The drones bent their heads as if bowing to an unseen command. Ryan stood at the center, half man, half prisoner, half chosen. The bond tightened, pulling him deeper into the queen's shadow, and he realized with a shiver that this was not the end. It was only the first step into a bond that would shake both humanity and the alien hive, the impossible event. The hive was silent. The air pressed heavy around Ryan, thicker than smoke. His chest ached with every breath, as if the bond was pulling life from him. The alien queen stood motionless, her glowing eyes fixed on him. The drones hissed in the shadows, restless, but waiting. The soldier felt like prey caught inside a web. But deep inside, he knew something far stranger was happening. Ryan's body burned. Heat spread from his chi, sank to his veins, his skin hot to the touch. He staggered, gripping his knees, gasping for air. "What did you do to me?" he shouted, his voice echoing in the chamber. The queen did not answer with words. Her voice filled his mind instead. "You feel it, because it has begun." The hive floor shifted under his boots, pulsing like a living heart. Strange light flowed through the walls, bright veins glowing red and gold. The chamber shook, dust falling from the ceiling. The drones hissed louder, crawling closer but stopping just short. Ryan's pulse hammered in his ears. It was not just fear now, it was something deeper, something alive inside him. Suddenly the queen moved. Her massive claws lowered around him, not striking, but enclosing him like a cage. Her head dipped close, her glowing eyes piercing his soul. Ryan tried to back away, but his legs refused to move. It was as if the ground itself held him still. The queen leaned closer, her chest expanding with each heavy breath. And then, the chamber erupted with light. A wave of unseen force exploded from the queen. It struck Ryan like fire, throwing him to the ground. He screamed, clutching his stomach. Something inside him twisted, burned, and changed. The pain was unbearable, but hidden within it was something worse. Not pain, but creation. Ryan's vision blurred. Flashes raced through his mind. Alien worlds, human cities, burning skies. He saw himself standing at the center of it all. Not as soldier, not as human, but as something new. A bridge between species. A key to survival. The queen's voice cut through the chaos. You are not just human now. You are mine. He gasped for air. His chest glowed faintly, as if light burned beneath his skin. He pulled at his shirt, staring in horror as strange patterns appeared across his body. Dark lines, sharp and curved, glowing faintly like alien symbols. The mark of the hive, for the mark of the queen. Ryan fell to his knees, shaking. His hands trembled as he touched the markings. They pulsed with his heartbeat, alive. No, this isn't real, he whispered. But the queen's towering shadow fell over him. Her massive claw touched the ground beside him. The hive pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. The bond was no longer only in his mind, it was in his flesh. The drones moved closer, but they no longer hissed. They bowed, their heads lowered, their bodies trembling. Ryan's breath caught. They weren't bowing to the queen. They were bowing to him. The soldier felt ice run down his spine. The queen's voice filled his skull again, deeper now. You carry the seed of change, human. Within you, life grows. Life not of your kind, not of mine, but of both. Ryan froze, his blood cold. Her words struck like a blade. He shook his head violently. No, that's impossible, he whispered. But his voice broke. The heat in his chest told him it was true. Something had begun inside him, something that should never exist. The queen lowered herself, her massive body bending close. Her voice rumbled like thunder. What is impossible to your kind is destiny to mine. You are chosen. You will carry what no other has carried. Ryan's eyes widened. He stumbled backward, his hands clutching his chest. I'm not your host, he spat. But even as he spoke, he felt the truth in his blood. The markings burned hotter, the bond pulling tighter. The chamber roared with power. The drones screeched in unison, their voices shaking the walls. Ryan covered his ears, but the sound was inside him too. The queen rose high, her body glowing faintly with strange energy. The hive itself pulsed like a giant heart, and Ryan stood at its center, trapped in destiny he could not escape. His vision dimmed. He fell to the ground, his body trembling, his mind spinning. Before darkness claimed him, he saw the key. Ian's eyes one last time. They were not filled with rage, not with hunger, but with victory. Because the impossible had already happened. The soldier was no longer only human. He was something more, something terrible, and the galaxy would never be the same. The consequences. Ryan woke with a gasp. His chest burned as if fire lived inside him. The hive was quiet, but not peaceful. The silence felt like the deep breath before a storm. He looked down at himself. The markings were still there, glowing faintly beneath his skin. They pulsed with his heartbeat as if alive. He tried to scratch them away, but his nails only tore his flesh. The marks did not fade. They were part of him now. The queen loomed above. Her eyes glowed with power, but also something new. Satisfaction. She had won. The impossible had happened. A human soldier now carried something that could change the galaxy. Ryan forced himself to stand. His body trembled, but his spirit burned with anger. What have you done to me? He demanded. His voice cracked, but he did not back down. The queen's voice entered his mind like a storm. You carry the future, human. Our future. Your blood and my blood. One life. Ryan's stomach twisted at her words. The thought made him sick, yet his chest told him the truth. Every breath, every pulse reminded him that something was growing inside him. Something not fully human, not fully alien, a hybrid. The drones hissed from the shadows, their eyes burned with confusion. Some bowed lower than before, others twitched in rage, as if ready to strike. They knew. They could sense their queen had created something new, something forbidden, but none dared move without her command. Ryan's mind raced. If humans discovered this, they would see him as a traitor. If aliens discovered this, they would see him as a weapon or a threat. No side would accept him. He was no longer soldier. No longer enemy. He was something else, something dangerous to both. The queen's voice thundered again. They will come, your kind and mine. They will fear what we have made, but fear is power, and power creates survival. Ryan shook his head violently. No, this will destroy me. It will destroy everything, he shouted. But deep inside, he felt her truth. What grew inside him was no simple burden. It was destiny. Suddenly, the hive trembled. The drones screeched, rushing to the walls. Ryan froze. In the distance, heavy explosions shook the ground. The sound of human weapons. The army was coming. The queen lifted her head, her eyes narrowing. The drones hissed and prepared for battle. Ryan's heart dropped. He could hear it. Human voices through broken comms in his armor. They were close, closer than he thought. Rescue or execution, he did not know. He staggered forward. If they see me like this, they'll kill me, he whispered. The queen leaned close, her massive shadow covering him. Then you must choose, human. Will you fight for them or for us? Her words stabbed into his chest. It was the truth he did not want to face. His old life as a soldier was over. The bond had changed him. Humanity would not forgive. The hive roared as another blast shook the walls. Dust rained from the ceiling. Ryan's breathing grew sharp and fast. He had to escape. But where? With the humans, who would see him as a monster, or with the aliens, who would see him as a vessel? The queen lowered her body, her claws scraping the ground. The choice is already made, human. You are mine. The hive accepts you even if they do not understand. Her voice burned into his thoughts, but Ryan felt something stronger rise inside him. Defiance. He clenched his fists. No, he whispered. Her eyes narrowed, but he continued, louder now. I am not yours, not theirs either. Whatever you put inside me, I'll use it, but not for you, not for them, only for me. The words shocked even himself. The queen's silence was heavy. For the first time, she did not answer. The hive shook harder. The drones screeched louder. Torn between protecting the queen and obeying their instincts, Ryan stood at the center, glowing marks burning across his chest. He realized something terrifying. The drones were not only bowing to her anymore, they were bowing to him too. The chamber pulsed with energy. The queen finally spoke, her tone sharper, heavier. Then you will bring consequences. Neither side can escape, human soldier. You are no longer a man. You are a storm. Ryan's blood froze. A storm. That was what he had become. Not human, not alien, but the beginning of something both sides feared, and as the sounds of human guns grew closer, he knew the next moment would decide everything. The hive, the queen, the soldiers outside, all of them would learn the same truth. The impossible bond had already changed the war, and Ryan stood at its center, not as victim, not as hero, but as the weapon no one expected. The hunt begins. The hive shook like thunder. Dust rained from the ceiling. The living walls pulsed in alarm. The sound of heavy boots echoed through the tunnels. Human soldiers were coming, Ryan's people, yet now strangers to him. The queen rose tall, her massive body glowing faintly with dark energy. Her drones hissed and spread out, forming a wall of living weapons. Their sharp limbs clattered, their jaws snapped. The hive was preparing for war, and Ryan stood caught between them. He pressed his hand to his chest, feeling the burning marks beneath his skin. Every pulse reminded him of the truth. He was no longer only human. The soldiers outside would not see him as Captain Ryan. They would see him as infected, as corrupted. They would kill him without hesitation. The queen's voice thundered in his mind. They come for me, but they will see you and they will fear you. The choice is here, human. Fight with them or fight with me. Ryan clenched his fists, his breathing sharp. I didn't choose this, he growled. But deep down, he knew choice no longer mattered. War was already at his door. The first explosion ripped through the entrance tunnel. Fire and smoke burst into the hive. Human soldiers stormed in with rifles blazing. Their lights cut through the dark, revealing twisted alien walls. "Contact! Contact!" voices shouted. Bullets tore into the drones, black blood spraying across the chamber. The hive roared to life. Drones screeched and charged, crashing into human soldiers with claws and teeth. The sound of gunfire mixed with alien shrieks. Sparks lit the walls, blood, red and black, painted the floor. Ryan stumbled backward, caught between two storms. The smell of death filled the air, sharp and choking. A soldier spotted him. "Target sighted. It's Captain Ryan," the voice shouted through the chaos. For a moment Ryan felt hope, but then another soldier yelled, "He's marked. He's infected. Fire on him." Muzzles turned toward him, guns aimed at his chest. Ryan froze, his heart racing. His own brothers in arms were ready to execute him. Not rescue, not questions, only death. The Queen's massive shadow rose behind him, her voice cut through the noise. "See, human, they already reject you. You are mine now." Bullets ripped through the chamber. Ryan dove aside, a spray of fire missing him by inches. He hit the ground hard, pain exploding in his side. Drones leapt over him, tearing into the soldiers. Screams filled the hive, human and alien alike. Ryan's vision blurred. Every instinct screamed at him to fight back. But who was the enemy now? Another blast shook the chamber. More soldiers poured in, grenades flashing, rifles blazing. The hive shook as drones fell, shredded by gunfire. But for every drone killed, two more came crawling from the walls. The Queen let out a deafening roar. The ground itself trembled as her power surged. The soldiers faltered, fear spreading like fire. Ryan struggled to his feet, blood dripping down his arm. He looked at the soldiers, his old comrades. He looked at the drones. Creatures that should have killed him, but now bowed to him. And in that moment, he understood the horror of his bond. Both sides would kill for him. Both sides would die for him. And he stood in the middle, cursed by destiny. The Queen's voice filled his skull again. "Take command, human. Show them your power. You are mine and mine alone." Her words burned, but then, above the gunfire, he heard a human voice shout, "Ryan, hold on. We can get you out." For a moment his heart twisted. Was there still hope? Or was it only another lie? A soldier broke through the smoke, his armor scarred, his visor cracked. Ryan recognized him. Sergeant Cole, his oldest friend. Cole's rifle lowered for a heartbeat, his eyes wide. "Ryan, what have they done to you?" he whispered. Ryan opened his mouth to answer, but the marks across his chest glowed brighter. The Queen roared, and the hive shook violently. Cole raised his weapon again, his hands trembling. "I'm sorry, brother, you're not one of us anymore," he said. The words cut deeper than any blade. Ryan's chest burned, his blood screamed, and something inside him broke loose. Energy erupted from his body. A shockwave of light and force blasted through the chamber. Soldiers and drones alike were thrown against the walls, screaming. The gunfire stopped. The hive fell silent for a single breath. Ryan stood in the center, glowing marks across his body, burning like fire. His breath came sharp and heavy. Everyone stared, human and alien, not at the Queen, but at him. The Queen's voice was heavy with triumph. "The storm has awakened," she thundered. Cole stared in shock, his weapon shaking in his hands. The drones bowed low, their claws scraping the floor. Ryan looked at them all, his chest rising and falling. He realized the truth. He was no longer hunted. He was no longer prey. He was becoming the weapon both sides feared. And now the hunt had truly begun, the final revelation. The chamber was silent after the blast. Smoke and dust hung heavy in the air. Human soldiers lay scattered, groaning in pain, weapons torn from their hands. Alien drones clung to the walls, trembling, their glowing eyes fixed on one figure. Captain Ryan stood in the center, his body glowing with marks of power. The impossible bond had awakened. The Queen rose high above, her massive frame casting a shadow over all. Her eyes burned with triumph. "You see now, human. You are not theirs. You are not mine. You are more." Her voice thundered in his mind, shaking his very bones. The drones bowed lower, not just to her, but to him. Ryan's breath came sharp and fast. He had become something neither side understood. From the smoke, Sergeant Cole staggered forward, his helmet cracked, blood dripping down his cheek. He lifted his weapon, his arms shaking. "Ryan, stop. You don't know what you're doing," he shouted. But his eyes betrayed his fear. He wasn't looking at a soldier anymore. He was looking at something unnatural, something terrifying. Ryan's chest burned brighter. The marks pulsed, alive, whispering in his mind. He could hear voices, not only the Queen's, but thousands, the hive. They spoke to him, calling him leader, savior, storm. He staggered, clutching his head. "No, I'm not your king," he shouted, but the voices only grew louder. The Queen lowered herself, her voice sharp and commanding. "Choose, human, the moment is here, destroy them, and the HIV. He will rise again. Together, we will end this war." Her words wrapped around him like chains. But then Cole's voice cut through, trembling but strong. "Ryan, you're still one of us. Fight it. Don't let her win. Come home." Ryan froze, torn between two worlds, human blood in his veins, alien power in his chest. His eyes darted between the Queen and his old friend. Both demanded loyalty, both offered survival. But deep down, Ryan knew one truth. Whichever path he chose, the galaxy would never be the same. The chamber shook again as reinforcements arrived. More soldiers poured in, weapons ready. More drones crawled from the walls, hissing. The air filled with tension like the final breath before destruction. Everyone waited for Ryan to decide. One word, one action, would decide life or death. Ryan raised his hand, glowing with alien light. The soldiers flinched, aiming their rifles. The drones hissed, ready to strike. The Queen leaned closer, her massive body looming. Her eyes burned with hunger for his choice. Cole stared at him with desperation. "Ryan, please don't do this," he whispered. Ryan's heart pounded like a war drum. His vision blurred, flashes of future burning in his mind. He saw Earth burning under alien fire. He saw hives destroyed by human weapons. But then he saw something else. A child, a being not human, not alien, but both. Born of war, yet holding peace. The vision shook him to his core. The Queen's voice thundered. "The child will unite us or destroy us. It depends on you." Cole's voice followed, desperate. "Ryan, you're still human. You can fight this." Both voices clashed in his mind. Ryan's body trembled, sweat pouring down his face. The glow from his chest spread down his arms. Power surged, unstoppable, uncontainable. He looked at the Queen, then at Cole, then at the soldiers. His voice cracked but carried through the chamber. "I am not yours, I am not theirs, I am something new." The Queen's eyes widened. The drones hissed in confusion. The soldiers froze, their fingers tense on triggers. Ryan lifted his hand higher. A blast of light erupted, shaking the hive to its core. Walls split, dust rained, drones shrieked, soldiers fell to their knees. The chamber roared like thunder, and Ryan's voice echoed through it. "This war ends with me." The Queen's massive body trembled, her eyes locked on him. For the first time, not with triumph, but with fear, Cole lowered his weapon slowly, whispering, "My God, what are you?" Ryan turned his glowing eyes toward him. "I don't know," he answered, his voice heavy. "But I will find out." The hive shuddered again, collapsing around them. Soldiers scrambled, drones screeched, chaos filled the air. But Ryan stood tall in the storm, unbroken, unclaimed. The impossible bond had given birth to something new. Not soldier, not alien, but a power that could save or destroy everything. And as the chamber fell apart, one truth burned brighter than all. This was not the end. It was only the beginning.